Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Blade Daily, coming at you with another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. Actually, not another edition, a special edition, a special, first time only, prediction edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, otherwise known as Sumo. Yeah, that's right, baby. Nobody else does prediction shows, so we thought we there was a gap in the marketplace. We might as well just race to it, right? Right. Oh, okay. So we jumped on the bandwagon. So what? Predictions are fun. Come on. But it's going to be you and it's going to be me because Joshi G's got some family stuff going on right now. We're sending our love and our very best to her. She will be back very soon. But until then, big love to Joshi G. But it's you and it's me and it's our predictions about Double or Nothing. First off, though, I want to encourage you to go to Spotify or go to the iTunes store. Leave us a 5-star review. If you've got something less than 5 stars to say about us, why don't you just email it to me? Because that's a lot nicer thing to do. Email it to sitdownshutupmarkout@gmail.com. And I read all the emails that come in. We've gotten a few. Really do appreciate them. Really appreciate your feedback and your constructive criticism, too. If you got something that you think would make the show better, let me know. Maybe you're right. Who knows? You're probably not, but who knows, right? Doing really good so far. Okay. So, also, we are on Instagram and Threads. Our username is simply Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out. And same on YouTube. So, really, it's a pretty easy thing to remember once you get the hang of it. Sit down, shut up, mark out. You can find us anywhere on social media. Before we get into predictions, let's quickly catch up, go over some brief thoughts about Dynamite. It was good. It was a very solid go-home show. I really enjoyed the interplay between Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay. Kind of a super team you didn't even know you wanted until you saw it. And then it's like, holy shit, this is awesome. Those guys are just two top caliber athletes. I loved the angle with Roddy hitting Ospreay with the belt, making him bleed. If you didn't see it, you need to go find it on Instagram or go find it on YouTube. Will Ospreay cut a promo that scares the shit out of me about what he's going to do to Roderick Strong. This man is absolutely possessed right now. The run he's on, he is showing everybody why Will Ospreay is the greatest in the biz right now. It's very hard to make an argument against him, and he continues to make it harder each and every week. Fucking crazy. Really, really liked the Kyle O'Reilly and Malakai Black match. That was super good. Cool styles to contrast with each other, kickboxing and kind of this MMA style, which I really, really enjoyed. You don't get to see that very often in American wrestling. It kind of reminded me, I think Taz mentioned like Pancrase and stuff like that, where you might see it in a place like that, but that was a long-ass time ago. So very, very cool. Kind of crazy to see Kyle O'Reilly be kind of a stepping stone to Adam Copeland, but, in the long scope, I don't think a lot of people are going to remember that he lost today. I don't think it's going to affect his push or affect his momentum when they really get a story behind him. He's a side character right now, and he's playing the part super well and with a lot of grace. The blood that hits Malakai at the end of this match is really thick, and there was a lot of it. Hit him right in the face. Like he looked up into it, and it just nailed him and knocked him on his ass. That was not just blood, friends. There's absolutely some other gore in there. There were some entrails or something, because that was nasty business. Oh, my God. But, yeah, Copeland with a big smile, looking like, hey, you've unleashed a nightmare, very Brood-esque bloodbath. So going to be interesting to see what happens in that steel cage barbed wire match, which we will talk about quite shortly. Another thing that really stood out to me Swerve and Christian, these guys have so much fun together. So much fun together. But most importantly, Christian he is a real heel. He's a liar. He's a coward. He runs away. Then he acts like he's tough when he's got the advantage or when his enemies aren't around. And then he becomes a cowering piece of shit when they are around. That's what a real heel is. And there's so little of that in today's wrestling. There really is. Like, there's just, I don't know. It's like weird. It's like since the age of the anti-hero, the age of Stone Cold, heels just don't want to all the way be heels. They want to sell merch. They want to make money. I get it to a degree, but you see how much the wrestling business needs true heels when you watch Christian Cage, when you watch a Jay White who acts like a real cowardly little asshole heel. This was a shot-for-shot reshoot of the Christian and Adam Copeland chase sequence. I believe it was from a Collision leading up to Revolution. As I was watching it, I was like, they know they did this once already, right? They have to know that this is something that they did exactly, including Christian, pulling a guy out of a SUV and getting ready to steal it. And he's got the smirk on his face and he takes off. And then this black SUV blocks him in and the camera pulls up and you see that it's Prince Nana drinking his coffee, which is very likely the Prince Nana branded coffee. And Prince Nana's with Swerve. Looks like he's going to be a babyface with Swerve, which I figured they had to do. Swerve's way too over. Breaking up him and Nana would make zero sense. To have Nana go with the Mogul Embassy, I just don't think that would ever happen. And really, when you think about it, Nana is a huge reason Swerve is a babyface. The dance got people going on something. It was a product of like Swerve showing what a badass he is and proving it in the ring, and Nana being so goddamn charismatic. It was the two. But yeah, then Swerve, beats Christian's ass until Christian finally gets away. I love how they're booking Swerve right now. It's very, very reminiscent of Stone Cold Steve Austin, but the right shit about Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's not just that, he swears and he's a rebel. It's that he's ruthless and cunning. So the heels don't have that advantage over him. He was a heel. And so just because he's a babyface, he didn't become an idiot, which is, you would think that would be par for the course in wrestling, but unfortunately, it's really not. There's a lot of times where, they kind of force these character changes onto people, and it totally ruins the character, and the audience turns on him. Roman Reigns is a great example. In The Shield, Roman Reigns was kind of the mercenary silent killer, and then he turns babyface, and they put him in they have him wearing bright colors with the Shield vest and telling the fans how much he's doing everything for them, and they hated him. They absolutely hated him. Also, he wasn't Daniel Bryan, which they hated him for. Speaking of Daniel Bryan, his brother Bryan Danielson wrestled Satnam Singh last night. Bryan Danielson, who's probably about 5'8", wrestles 7'4" Satnam Singh last night, and it was a lot of fun. Just to see the disparity between these two, to see Danielson do the I'm not going to back down from you thing with Satnam Singh was really cool. This was completely Danielson's idea. You could tell he really wanted to do this. He loved doing it. And to cap it all off, obviously, FTR's already been taken out. Darby's been quote unquote banned from the building. So Darby's coming back, right? And they did it so perfectly with Tony Khan being the one to drive Darby to the building. Darby running into the building. I thought it was like a paintball gun or something. I couldn't tell what it was. No, it was a fucking flamethrower. It was a fucking flamethrower. And Darby looks like he is so happy. He is so happy to have this fucking flamethrower. And, Danielson's got his back to him. And you can see Danielson kind of turn his head a few times. I'm not going to back into this motherfucker. Darby with the flamethrower, I'm like, everybody get out of his way. This guy is having way too much fun. He will get carried away. As it turns out, I happened to find an interview with Darby that Sean Ross Sapp recently did, and Darby said that it was his idea to come back when he realized that Eddie wasn't going to be able to make the show, and that he was on a vacation with his parents going to Yellowstone, and he turned the car around and drove back to Seattle to be at the Everett show. And that's how it came about. And he had to figure out if he could get cleared, but he got cleared. And his nose is still messed up. He's still hurting. But, man, this guy, Darby is a legend in the making. We're watching it happen. He may not have a very long career, but he will be remembered forever. There is nobody else like Darby Allin. And last night was just yet another chapter in that book. He may never be the world champion. Maybe never. But he is like a combination of Sting and Rey Mysterio. He has the appeal of both. He appeals to kids, but he's got an edge, and he does shit neither one of them would ever have been willing to do. He is really, really just such a remarkable dude, and I hope that he gets a big moment at Double or Nothing. So, now that we've talked about that, now that we've talked about Dynamite, let's talk about the build to Double or Nothing. This, to me, it's been like the most focused I've ever seen AEW in their booking leading up to a pay-per-view. Dynamite and what I call Calampage, when they combine Collision and Rampage, they've all been built around the feuds at the pay-per-view with very few random matches. That was a complaint that was levied quite a lot against AEW in the past, and it was fair, I think. There was a lot of random activity on the shows that didn't seem to have much to do with anything that they're building up to. And then, when you have 3 months between pay-per-views, you kind of lose track of where certain stories are in the mix. And some stories are introduced right after a pay-per-view is over. Like maybe they kind of allude to what the main event's going to be, but then you've got to build it for 3 months. I was really excited when AEW started that they were going to do quarterly pay-per-views because I thought that would make the pay-per-views mean more. And I was nostalgic for the days where WWE had their big four. They had the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And what I forgot, and one of the most important factors in all of that was that WWF television during that era was completely different. Their TV matches were largely squashes. Anything that happened between stars on TV was done in interviews. There might be a very brief physical encounter, but they didn't wrestle each other. They weren't wrestling in premiere matches on television until Monday Nitro came around. Really. And so they could kind of drag their feet and drag things out, and the fans would accept it, and they won't anymore. That would never work now, and it didn't work. So this would be an example of the near monthly pay-per-views really helping the booking because there's always a quick turn to build to the next big show. The stories don't need to be mapped out over 3 months of time. They're mapped out for at most 6 weeks. And I think that's really, really helping the presentation. They've figured out how to fully harness 5 hours of weekly television. The giant roster feels like it's being used more evenly with a few notable exceptions. And one of them we will talk more about. Who's this guy who keeps talking? Tell him to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, me. It's time to get to the goddamn prediction. All right, so I asked you guys what you thought was going to happen, and you guys gave me a ton of feedback. So I will get to that. In just a bit. But let's get started. So first match we have coming up. The matches I'm listing, by the way, I am listing in the order that they are listed on the event website. So I don't know what will actually main event. I don't know what will go first. Who knows? But this is the order the matches are listed in on the event site. Bullet Club versus Death Triangle. This is a match that was thrown together on this last Dynamite, and that's cool. I thought they had pretty much teased that this would be happening. Putting Jay White and Pac in the ring together is a very good decision, okay? From an in-ring perspective, there's no way this match isn't going to deliver, okay? However, I want to make something really clear. This is not a pre-show match. Tony Khan, do you hear me? My name is Blade Daily, and I am telling you, this is not a pre-show match. Don't fucking do it. It's bad enough that the trios titles were unified on a pre-show at the last pay-per-view, even though that was a great pay-per-view. This is not a pre-show match. This is Death Triangle and Bullet Club. These guys are big fucking deals. Okay? Put this on the main show. It does, in all honesty, have some of the least build, but the bits with Pac, who's kind of been rudderless since losing to Okada, and Jay and Bullet Club have been super entertaining. Last Collision, I believe it was, the entrance where they're panning around the circle of Bullet Club, and then you realize that Pac is unconscious in front of Jay White. That reveal was expertly done. I loved it. And also, how is it possible for Bullet Club to be more amusing than they already are? They keep finding a way. They come out last night, they're carrying 3 trios titles each, the ROH 6-man, the original trios title, and the Acclaims trios title. So there's 9 belts between 3 guys. They come out with the belts around their shoulders to the top of the ramp. Then they put them all in a little kid's wagon. They carry the 9 belts in the wagon from the top of the ramp to the bottom of the ramp before they pick up all the belts again and get in the ring. That totally popped me. My prediction, this is a match that could go either way. If they want to keep Jay busy without getting him into the world or international title scenes just yet, this is the perfect place for him. Keep him with the guns. Get that faction even more over. I can't wait for Juice Robinson to come back. My prediction is that Bullet Club Gold is going to take it. I don't think they're ready for Jay to make a big run at one of the big singles titles right this minute. They are still preparing him for that, but his time will come. I have all the faith in the world about that. The next match. And some people are already rolling their eyes. I can literally feel you in the past. I am in the past, listening to you in the future. Roll your fucking eyes. I can hear you rolling your eyes. You're rolling them so hard. But it's Chris Jericho, Hook, and Shibata in a triple threat match. Okay. The finish that led to this with Hook and Shibata simultaneously making Brian Keith tap out was stupid. It was very, very stupid. However, it's my kind of stupid. I liked it. It's the kind of pro wrestling inanity and insanity that I enjoy. You can't do that in any other sport. You can do it there, and it kind of gets there. It's kind of a wink and a nod. It's a finish that realizes how stupid it is. But I didn't think it was necessary for Brian Keith to tap out on his leg and in his neck. Like he's saying, I tap out to both. Like he didn't need to do that. Just a tap anywhere should have been a dual victory. I think this match is going to be fun. I do think it's going to surprise some people. I think some people are so upset with Chris Jericho being a part of AEW anymore that they're just not going to like this match no matter what. I do like that Hook is getting more comfortable in his character, doing more promo work. We're getting more of a feel for his personality. And I'll say, I think Jericho has helped a bit in that regard. I really do. And honestly, the person I want to win, it's Katsuyori Shibata, motherfuckers. How cool would it be for him to be a part of the FTW title lineage? It's not a sanctioned belt. But to me, it means something because I watched ECW back in the day. I remember when Taz introduced the Fuck the World heavyweight title. I do think you can have that title bounce around kind of more like a hardcore title. And Shibata has proven himself to be a versatile character. He's a badass. He's a legend. But he's absolutely figured out a way around the language barrier with this crazy Google Translate shit. And he's become extremely entertaining. And then there is another 2 factors in this, which how does the Redwood Big Bill, great nickname, how does the Redwood, and how does Samoa Joe factor into this? So my prediction is that as much as I want to see Hook or Shibata win and just end this thing, I don't think that's where it's going. I don't think that would be good for the story either. Jericho really just started this learning tree thing, and I'm enjoying Big Bill, the Redwood, how he's played along. If Jericho drops the belt, the story's pretty much over. I think Hook and Shibata beat the piss out of each other, and Jericho weasels out with the title. Then you enter Samoa Joe, because remember, on Dynamite, Samoa Joe is like, he's talking to Hook, and he's like, you let him get you at your own man's throat and make you weak, and here I thought you could be dangerous. So I think maybe you enter Samoa Joe, he kind of loses it with these 2 guys, and he's like, you idiots, see what I was talking about? Maybe they form a new stable. Because how badass would a stable of Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook be? Holy shit. Jericho winning would be worth it to me. I think Jericho takes this one. Okay. Now, we have a match of best friends no more. Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it right now. Straight up. Trent has been a major part of AEW's success since day one. He's an amazing worker. He's been incredibly selfless in putting people over and also making them look great while doing it. This, in my opinion, is his moment. Don Callis with Orange Cassidy is a red herring. I don't think it's going to happen. I feel very confident in that. It's a smokescreen. I see Trent being the one to end up with Callis. Adding the ending of Chuck Taylor's career to Trent's resume really helped move this along and made it more personal. I would have loved to hear Trent elaborate a little more on why he felt OC is a narcissist, because it's a great villain premise that I felt maybe they underplayed it a little too much. But my prediction is that Trent wins. He has to. Otherwise, why have this match? OC beat him on Dynamite clean already. He just lost to him. So Trent asking for a straight up wrestling match, I'm doing the quote things with my fingers, is a total setup for him to cheat and beat the fuck out of Orange Cassidy, and I hope he does. I think Trent walks out with Don Callis, which I think is a great move, and I think adds dimension to both guys, gives more of an edge to Orange Cassidy, and gives Trent some momentum to go start a singles career. It's his time. Trent wins. That's my prediction. I can see Trent Beretta being a very successful upper mid-card guy, kind of at that point that maybe like a Roderick Strong is at or a Kyle O'Reilly is at. I think he's actually been a very good actor since he's turned heel. He's been very believable in all the shit that he's done. And this guy's got it in the ring. It's his time. Give it to Trent. Let him run with it, man. Okay. This next match. This is the one that could really upset me personally. I am into pro wrestling, and I don't normally care that much about winners and losers. I am into the art, okay? I'm into the art of the match. I'm into the art of being a babyface. I'm into the art of being a heel. I'm into the art of winning and the art of losing. As long as it creates a sustainable story for both parties, winning and losing isn't as significant as people seem to think, okay? But in the case of Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita, they are having an IWGP World Title Eliminator match, their very first Eliminator match on a pay-per-view ever. There was a fantastic podcast, and I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. Oh, it was this fucking podcast, where in our last episode, we talked about Konosuke Takeshita and how he's been one of the few kind of stumbles of AEW's booking this past year. Look at the man. He's a god. He's built like God's perfect warrior. He is a man you have to find a way to push. He has Don Callis with him, so it's not like he can't communicate. He just needs to be given the opportunities. There needs to be more focus on his actual character. We know he's a great wrestler from Japan. We need to know a lot more than that. There is no reason to go out of the way to make this the first ever Eliminator match on pay-per-view if Takeshita isn't winning. Just make it a title match and have Moxley win if that's what they're going to do. The thing on Dynamite where Moxley just shows up and kind of punked Takeshita after Takeshita squashed Seidel, I saw somebody on Threads make a pretty compelling argument that wasn't great booking because it kind of, Moxley just kind of punking Takeshita out like that kind of undid, the result of Takeshita killing Matt Seidel. And I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree. But I also think it shows that Moxley's underestimating Takeshita and he's going to pay for it. This feels like a must win for my man Takesh. I think he wins here and faces Mox at Forbidden Door. I did, though, think it was interesting to see the announcers specifically say if Konosuke Takeshita wins, he will face Moxley or whoever is champion. It's hard to see Mox dropping the title so soon, but time will tell. Either way, Takeshita needs this. I got Konosuke Takeshita for the win. And if he doesn't, may God have mercy on Tony Khan's inbox because I'm going to go absolutely ape shit. Ape shit. All right. Woo. Gotta take a little swig here. Jesus Christ, I am on a roll, baby. On a roll, baby. Yeah, I love these weekends, leading up to a pay-per-view. I'm taping this on Thursday, May 23rd in the evening, and it already feels like Double or Nothing weekend to me. I'm so excited for this show. It's been built so well. And one of the matches that I am really excited for is Malakai Black versus Adam Copeland in a barbed wire cage match for the TNT title. Holy balls. This is going to be wild, child. I've enjoyed the build to this. I think Adam going through the other guys in the House of Black made perfect sense. I didn't really pay that much attention to Edge in WWE or WWE at all after he returned. But I know he did a Brood Edge run that to me just kind of felt like, eh. Like, how can you do that and not have Gangrel? Like, what the fuck? But him doing the bloodbath on Malakai on Dynamite really, really warmed my cold, dead heart. It really feels like my boy Gangrel might make a cameo, and that would make me very, very happy. Come on. You got Evil versus Evil, House of Black Evil versus Adam Copeland Evil. This could be a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the House of Black in this. Something I would say about the House of Black and the way they get used in AEW a lot, and I think why a lot of people think that Buddy Matthews and Malakai want to leave, is that the House of Black kind of gets cut off at the knees a lot in AEW, and they routinely have. Malakai Black is a special talent. He is not just like a very good wrestler. He is exceptional. His presence, his charisma, his physical charisma is off the charts, okay? And I think he, it's said that he asked for his release at some point a couple years ago, and he's pretty much been in trios matches since then. I think he's only been in maybe a handful of singles matches, if even that much. And it's really too bad. It's really too bad. So I'm going to pick with my heart on this one and not with my head, okay? I want to believe that Malakai is staying in AEW and that he's happier now and that Buddy's staying. And even if it hasn't always seemed like they were happy, I want them to stay. I doubt they're going to give Copeland a quick 2-month title reign. However, Malakai needs the rub, to be honest. He got the rub from Cody, but that was 2 years ago. He really hasn't had much of one since then. And I really want to see him be the TNT champion. I think it would be very interesting to see how Copeland deals with being forced into the House of Black. If only to get Beth to do a run-in at some point and screaming at him about not coming home or talking to his kids. Abandoning his family so that he could be evil. I'm going to say Malakai Black wins. That's what I want to happen. I'm not sure it will happen, but it's what I want to happen. Either way, I think this match is going to be one of the highlights of the show. The gimmick of the match itself certainly leads to the idea that it's going to be explosive, and I think we might get some fun surprises in that one. The next match that we got might be the most obvious match on the whole card, at least to me. Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong for the international title. Now, these two haven't had a ton of build, but boy, they have made the most of absolutely every second they've gotten. This is obviously two fantastic athletes and workers, so we know the in-ring is going to be top-notch, okay? We know the in-ring is going to be top-notch. That's like not even up for debate. But the promos that they did and that face-to-face they did specifically in Everett was fantastic. It's my all-time favorite Roderick Strong mic moment. He projected intensity, disrespect, and rage in equal measure. Will Ospreay has been on another level with these promos, no pun intended, and he cut one after the show last night that was frankly kind of terrifying with his blood trickling down his face. And basically, Will seems to be on a one-man mission to show Triple H what a dumbass he is for not trying to sign him. Will is just the fucking man all the way around. And this is going to be an amazing, amazing match. But I think it has the most obvious result. Will Ospreay is not losing yet and is the perfect encapsulation of what the international title represents. He can defend in Europe. He can defend in Japan. He can defend in Mexico. And I know that's the kind of stuff he wants to do. He could give this belt the identity it has lacked, basically, since its inception. I love Roddy, but I don't see him as the guy that's going to beat Will Ospreay for the first time. He's not going to be the first guy to beat Will Ospreay. I think he's going to lose, despite Wardlow trying to help him win. And that's going to lead to Wardlow getting in more trouble with the very ailing, what I would say, Undisputed Kingdom. Hopefully that story gets picked up and goes somewhere soon. But I think Will Ospreay wins this one, bruv. Oh, and we get a new international champion. Next, we got Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World title. I'm a huge fan of both of these competitors. Serena has been excellent in the ring since she came back. She injects that Dean Malenko-ish vibe into the women's division, and it was sorely missing. She has this level of technical expertise. Now, also joined by Deonna Purrazzo, who, between the two of them, just take technical wrestling to a whole new level in the women's division. Toni Storm is on another fucking level, bruv. Doing some of the greatest character work I've ever seen in pro wrestling, regardless of gender. Toni has always been a top-notch wrestler. These two are going to bring the best out of each other. The problem for Serena Deeb is that people don't want to boo Toni. She is just over as fuck right now, and the crowd absolutely adores her. I've been surprised to hear a number of people in the wrestling space that I ordinarily respect their voices. They're predicting a Serena Deeb win, and I don't see any way that happens. I am a huge fan of hers, but she cut a promo on Dynamite a few weeks back in Canada. The crowd was chanting, I think, for their sports team or something, and she got super thrown off. And it kind of shows where her game needs more work before you could put a world title on her. Character work is as essential as great in-ring work, perhaps even more. Toni Storm has a date with Destiny and Mariah May before she drops that world title. I think Toni Storm takes this one. Toni Storm's going to come out on top, and there may be some advancement to that brewing angle with Mariah May. Okay, so we got 3 more matches to predict, but I am going to turn it now to your predictions. I'd asked you guys what you thought was going to happen, and I got a lot of feedback. So I'm going to refresh my page just to make sure I have all of them. Okay, so on the Sit Up Shutdown Markout account today, I said we are stoked for Double or Nothing. We're taping this special today. What are you most excited about? What match or matches do you think could steal the show? Let us know, and we'll include it. 8-Bit Bruchet or 8-Bit Bruche, I'm sorry if I butcher some of these usernames. I truly apologize. Said so many great things on this card that I'm excited for, but if I had to narrow it down, I'd say Ospreay versus Roddy and Copeland versus Malakai. The caliber of the mid-card champions is so absolutely nuts across all of AEW right now that I might as well stop calling them mid-card altogether. Couldn't agree more. I think that AEW is almost eliminating the idea of a mid-card. You're either doing jobs or you're like in the main event caliber. There's kind of no in between. It's absolutely stacked. But great feedback. Thank you, 8-Bit Bruce or 8-Bit Bruchet. Really appreciate it. J Ray, my man J Ray, always has good stuff to share on the thread. Said the card is so stacked. Can't help but be excited for Mercedes to finally hit the ring. All the Wills are coming out on top, I hope. And by that, he means Ospreay and Nightingale. Anarchy in the arena, good, bad, or otherwise, it's always special and memorable. I agree. I think Anarchy in the arena, it's going to massively over-deliver. I don't think people are as excited for it as they will be when it happens, because you got so many high-level performers in that match. It's going to be amazing. As for Willow, I'm going to talk about that. I think there's something to be discussed about that match, and we have a lot more to discuss about it. Genosist 02 or Gnosis 02. Again, guys, if I butcher your username, I'm sorry. The card is stacked as always, but I can't wait to see if Mercedes lives up to the hype, and Anarchy in the arena is guaranteed to be wacky, brutal fun. Completely agree. I think Mercedes absolutely will live up to the hype. This lady has a whole career of performing under the bright lights in the biggest possible positions. As much pressure as this may feel for us, she's used to this, and I think she's going to deliver. Obviously, we all wonder how well she could have recovered from her injury, but if she's made the kind of progress that it seems she's made, I think Mercedes is absolutely going to be great. Rerun 717, the homie Rerun 717 says, top 3, Mercedes versus Willow, Anarchy in their arena, Roddy Ospreay, and predicting a return, hoping MJF or Britt. I think there will be a return. And for some reason, for me, I feel like it's going to be Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, perhaps. I just have it's just a feeling. I don't even know what it's based on. But yeah, it seems pretty consistent that we're hearing Roddy Ospreay, Mercedes Willow, and Anarchy in the arena. Books and body slams. Good homie on Threads. I am excited for the Elite versus Team AEW. I just know there are going to be some crazy things that happen. I think Takeshita is going to beat Moxley, and Will Ospreay is going to win. I think Willow is going to retain because I think Mercedes will win at All In. Let's be real. I'm excited for the whole card. Well, friendo, me too. I think Takeshita, as you know, I think Takeshita is going to beat Jon Moxley. I think Will Ospreay will win. I have a different opinion about the Willow Nightingale situation, and I will explain it in just a bit. But thank you for your feedback. Reverend Redbeard, another good friend over on Threads, a Thrend. The show is stacked, but the two matches I'm most excited for are Malakai versus Copeland and Swerve versus Christian. This show is going to be awesome. Yes, it is going to be awesome. I think Swerve and Christian is going to surprise some people. I think they're going to add a little twist somewhere in that match that's going to catch us all off guard. Drandom313 said 3 things: Anarchy in the arena, Adam Copeland versus Malakai Black, and the Trios Championship, seeing Death Triangle's entrance again. Man, that entrance is awesome, is it not? I mean, seeing it on Dynamite the other night, you just forget, God, these guys are just so badass. So badass. On a separate post a couple days ago, I asked if on the Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out page, I had asked, what do you think is going to happen? And good friend Lee Mardoni gave quite a lot of what she thought was going to happen. Ospreay versus Strong predicts Ospreay will win. I was on the fence with this. I personally think they should keep Ospreay on the chase for a belt and keep him away from them all because of dirty deeds, Wardlow interference perhaps, or some shenanigans. But I just have the feeling they'll put gold on Will Ospreay because it's Ospreay. I think you're right. I think they will put. I think they are going to put the gold on him, and I personally think it's okay if they do. Roddy's great, but I think Roddy's just kind of over for being Roddy and doesn't need that belt. Black versus Copeland. She's picking Malakai Black. I don't know. Cope doesn't need it. Cope turns and joins House of Black because that would be interesting to me. I don't know. I completely agree. That's interesting to me too, and that's what I want. She also picks the Elite to go over Team AEW. Battle for control of AEW. I'm not ready for the Elite's reign of terror to end. Completely agreed. Takeshita versus Moxley picks Takeshita for pretty much the reasons you said on the last episode. Agree. Takeshita needs the win and the push. Keep belt on Mox, though. Absolutely. And Lee makes a very interesting pick here. Picks Orange Cassidy over Trent Beretta. Double turn incoming? I'd say Beretta, but the OC stuff, but the Don Callis stuff muddies the water. If they wanted to go with something super crazy and have, if they wanted to go absolutely crazy and have Trent be he's actually the voice of reason, and Orange Cassidy really is an underhanded piece of shit, and he is really a narcissist who took everybody's spot and went from being the best friend's mascot to taking their spots, and it was all egotism and a subtle ploy. That would be one hell of a choice. I can't see it happening personally because I think OC makes way too much money and brings kids to the shows. But who knows? Maybe you're right. That's a very interesting idea. So that is the feedback we got. Incredible stuff. You guys are awesome. Remember, if you ever want to give us feedback, if you ever want to give us some predictions, if you want to be on the show, send us an email, sitdownshutupmarkout@gmail.com. I read all the emails that come in and I respond to all the emails that come in. It's really important to me to have a relationship with you all to facilitate some community. So let's get back to my predictions. And by the way, Joshi G and I went over this entire list together and we agreed on absolutely all of these predictions. She and I really are wrestle twins. We really see it the same. She was kind of flummoxed that she agreed with absolutely every match. Speaking of matches, Team AEW, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR versus the Elite. The Bucks, the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, Jack Perry. Speaking of fantastic character work, the Young Bucks are doing incredible stuff right now. Really, the entire elite. Okada and Jack Perry are doing great stuff too. There hasn't been a ton of build for this, and I honestly don't think there needs to be. The elite are the dickheads running the shows and screwing literally everyone over. Anyone in the company would hate them. Using FTR, Danielson, and Darby as the avatars for the fans makes total sense at this point. I think this is going to be an off-the-wall shenanigans match. I think there could be a big surprise in this match in the end. There's a lot left in this elite story, and my prediction is they're going to win. I can't see the elite losing here. I see this match as a way to elevate both Jack Perry and Darby Allin. To me, it really feels like the Bucks and the elite are just getting started. They showed Tony Khan on camera last night during Darby's insane flamethrower run-in. Is Tony back in kayfabe? Will he somehow factor into this? I'm wondering, will Hangman Page somehow return and give the elite the win? Because the elite are against Swerve Strickland, and why would they go out of their way to show their opposition to Swerve Strickland if maybe Hangman Page wasn't going to affiliate with them again and take up the mantle against Swerve? So I think it's very possible that Hangman Page shows up and tips this match to the elite. But I do believe the elite will win one way or the other. Next, a match that you all are talking about. A match that I think is the most compelling one on the entire card. And it's a giant tribute to both the participants in this match because it is not for a world title. It is for the TBS title. There are some people in the professional wrestling know-it-all space that are going to look super dumb after this match. I have heard the whining and the hand-wringing about Mercedes on her promos. I've heard them say she hasn't made an impact. And I have laughed and laughed and laughed to myself. This feels like the most unique and intriguing program on this show. First off, Willow Nightingale has shown us who the fuck she is. She is a goddamn star, and she is holding herself like a fucking star, okay? Mercedes has barely changed her character since her first night in AEW. She talks the same. She acts the same. The crowd is just booing her now. The stuff she said in Boston that everyone cheered for now is seen as condescending and narcissistic, and I believe that that was the intention. Mercedes, in my opinion, is about to pull a huge heel move in this match, and I mean, I absolutely believe that's what's going to happen. My prediction, Mercedes gets Stokely and Willow or a debuting Camille or all of them to join her. She has said on many occasions now, money changes everything, and she is going to want to take that year-long injury out on Willow in the worst possible way. Taking Willow's title is one thing. Taking her friends is a super villain move. I think Mercedes wins, and Willow Nightingale begins her climb to become the top female babyface in All Elite Wrestling. I see a lot of people saying they want Willow to win this one, and I get it, guys. I really do. I put a poll up on our threads asking who you wanted to see win, Willow or Mercedes, and by a margin of 61-39, Willow won. Look, I get it. But this wrestling isn't a real sport, okay? It's better than a real sport because we get to do the outcomes that satisfy us the most. Willow winning would feel great in the short term. But Mercedes beating Willow, taking her friends from her, and then throwing obstacles in her way in a title chase, and Willow proving that she is not just a nice person, not just a good person, but a badass who is capable of overcoming all of that shit, who is better than Statlander, who is better than Mercedes, who eventually catches up to Mercedes and beats her ass for the TBS title. It's going to elevate Willow, and it's going to elevate the TBS title. Mercedes holding the TBS title will also elevate the TBS title. I am really, really certain of that. And I think that, again, wins and losses, I think certain people in the wrestling space, when they talk about wrestling, they start to get a little too cookie cutter with the way they say things. The belt's just a prop. Is the belt a prop? Technically, yes. But, so is a knife in a murder scene, and it's the most important prop in the scene, right? The titles are very important props. Okay. And it's the illusion of prestige, right? And wins and losses don't matter is another thing that's been recited by a lot of people who've been in the wrestling business way too long, who don't have very good critical thinking skills. Wins and losses don't matter in the sense that you can move up the card through a win or a loss, depending on the story they tell with it. But the example I used this in our first episode, I believe, which is Swerve fought Orange Cassidy for the international title last year. And I really thought Swerve was going to win. And when Swerve lost, I was pissed. In the moment, at the time, I was pissed. Swerve's my dude. You guys know that. I was pissed. And now I'm not pissed. You know why? Because he won the world fucking title. Did I really want him being distracted, defending the international title and not to be the world champion? No, I want him to be the world champion. Do I really want Willow to just beat Mercedes and move on? No, I don't. I want Willow to look like she had Mercedes beat before everybody turned on her and cost her everything. I think Mercedes is going to form her own stable. I've seen some people say she should join the Elite. I would love that. Oh my God. That would be so amazing. But one way or the other, I think this match is going to be an absolute highlight, and I can't wait for it. It's as excited as I've ever been for a women's match in AEW history. I don't know if it'll be the best ever in AEW history, but it's as excited as I've ever been for one. Okay, in our last match, Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland. As I said, this is for the AEW World Heavyweight title. Swerve's my dude. You know he is. He continues to level up and looks goddamn great with that world title. I don't think the result can be in much doubt here, but Christian and the Patriarchy have done a great job adding some much needed seasoning to it. The storyline beats, Christian being pissed that Swerve got put in the coffin. The storyline with Nick Wayne from last year, where Swerve is kind of paying for his crimes, and they got him back with that picture of his daughter. Amazing stuff. Do the Bucks somehow get involved in this match to fuck with Swerve? Does Hangman get involved in this match somehow to fuck with Swerve? This feels like a legit rivalry now that's been earned. Even though I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell of Swerve dropping this, I think they're going to do everything in their power to make us think he could lose. But I don't think he is. Plus, we've got Prince Nana back. Amazing shit. Amazing shit. My prediction, whose house? That's right. All right. So those are my predictions for what's going to happen at Double or Nothing this Sunday in Las Vegas. Again, we would love it if you guys would rate and review us on the iTunes store or on Spotify or wherever you can rate and review podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps us raise us in the algorithm. It helps us be seen. We have actually charted in the United States in the wrestling category. We have charted. We got as high as number 50 in America. We got as high as like number 30-something in Australia and number 30-something in Canada. So I'm blown away by this. This is our 4th episode. We cannot believe how well this has gone already. We do not measure the success of this show, though, in numbers. We measure it in connection. And we want to connect with you. So please, listen to this episode. Tell your friends about our podcast. We got a website that's about 75% done and should be live next week. And we are just going to get bigger and better from here. But until Sunday, I will see you on Threads during Collision and Rampage. And then on Sunday, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to mark out. I hope you will too, friends. I'm Blade Daly, Pro Wrestling Beretta.